So you get out, and then how do you end up meeting Drake? Like, how long did it take until you get out? This ends up happening, and you sort of start moving in a different direction.
Pretty quick, because when I went to prison with the guys in my era. And the guys in my era, obviously now there's a younger generation that's coming up in our neighborhood, and they were into the rap stuff. So they had met up with Drake, and I guess there was some type of affiliation and stuff. This is all happening while I was in prison. I didn't even know about it. So I get out now, being the OG, not the only OG from my neighborhood, but one of them.
Right.
And obviously, you know, the younger guys are gonna gravitate to you because they want to learn, obviously, and shit. So we grew together, and they brought Drake around me. Like, I think it was a video shoot that we were shooting. Preem, you know Preem, the artist from Toronto? Yeah, he was shooting a video, and we got shut down in his neighborhood from the cops because we didn't have permits and stuff. So we needed another spot to finish the video, and that spot was my neighborhood. And Drake had a scene in the video where he pulls up in his Maybach, and that's the first time I got to meet him.
Right.
And from that day till now, we haven't left each other's side.
That's crazy. What do you think he saw in you? That he seems like the kind of guy who, you know, even if like when he comes to LA, like you've seen scenes of him like that song with Game, and they're really in the hood and shit. And it's like, you know, that Drake, regardless of whatever he's actually on, he just appreciates the street side of things and respects it a lot. Is that right?
Does. Definitely, because he has friends from the streets.
Right.
You know, so he's gonna have to. You know,
it's always funny when like the news will decide to report on it and be like, look at all these crazy people that Drake surrounds himself, but they can never really put it on him. But like that's basically you right there. You're one of those guys that they want to be like, look at this guy hanging out with.
And they did it for so many years, and that's why I appreciate him and love him, because he could have been like, man, this is too much, bro. You got a lot of, you know, let me go this way because right now I'm here, and that might tamper with what I got going on here. But he never turned his back, bro.
Well, it's interesting though too, because I mean, probably a lot of people want to act like, oh, Baka's just his thug or his goon or some shit. But I mean, if you're Drake, you got like real deal security. So it's like he doesn't need you to beat somebody up for him. He's got some Secret Service motherfuckers to do that, right? So what was like the nature of you guys sort of being around each other?
It's just, imagine, like, you know, okay, I'm the biggest rapper in the world now. I'm going all over the world. I want to have people around me that I grew up with and that I can trust and I know have my best interests at hand. Why am I going to go and hire all these people to be around me that don't know nothing about me? It just wouldn't make sense.
Right.
You know? I'd rather have a couple people around me that have been around me from the beginning. Yeah. It just makes sense.
And he's very much like embraced and tried to sort of represent the soul of Canada and like where he's really from and his music. And I feel like he's somebody that's smart enough that he understands that the closer he stays to the streets, the better off. Because I mean, that's the remarkable thing about Drake is like 10 years of this shit. Like everybody's supposed to fall off
going strong,
in 10 years.
Going even stronger.
Right.
It's crazy.
You just don't get into that position unless you're strategic, and you know, we've seen so many people that their music just essentially becomes sort of like bleached of any sort of interesting shit. And even a lot of the risks that he takes, like, you know, like when you put gigs on an album, you know that a lot of people are not going to get Giggs' flow.
Yep, a lot of people
but aren't. It's an important risk to take.
Very,
you know,
because he sees it, sees it, and he hears it like way before I or normal people do. I swear, man, his hearing for things is totally different, man. Totally different.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So you guys become cool. What's like, there's got to be a part of you that's like, I'm my own man. I don't want to just be hanging out with somebody else that has their own shit going on. But he's meanwhile like fully embracing you and being like, come on the road with us, do all this stuff. How do you sort of find your way to fit in that kind of situation?
Well, in the beginning, man, I was doing the quote unquote security thing, right? And I was like, yo, you know, I gotta figure out my life. I mean, I'm not gonna do this forever, you know what I'm saying? And I was doing a lot of things, trying to figure out things. I even tried to do the label thing like I was telling you about. And then by me doing that, that's how I found myself. Because I grabbed a whole bunch of kids and I started doing this music thing. I wanted them to start making music because my goal was for them to make as much music as possible and then just bring it to OVO, to Drake, and be like, listen, this is what my plan is. Can you guys help me? Can this happen, you know? And go from there.
That's smart, yeah.
Right? But in the midst of that, these kids, shout out to Hyper, these kids wanted me to go into the booth one day because they must have put on a beat and I was just snapping to the beat. I was like, yo, go in the booth and say something. I went in there and I laid some crazy shit down. Crazy shit for me because I've never done it before, and I was on time. Everything just flowed nice. I mean, the bars were probably shit, you know, but just the fact that I felt in my mind that I could flow and I could keep the timing, and I felt that it sounded amazing.
Had you not spent much time freestyling or even trying to write stuff? Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow, that's shocking.
Nothing, bro.
That you could have that skill sort of on deck, but then meanwhile you're just not even, you're thinking about everything around rapping aside from actually rapping, and then it actually works out.
Yeah, which is crazy. But I just, like, that's why I bring that back to my father, like him playing all that music while I was a kid, all those melodies, because sometimes I'm in the studio and melodies come in my head off, like I'll hear a beat and then a melody will just pop up in my head. I'm like, how the fuck? And then I have to remember, like, this is why, man. Like, when I was a kid and all those songs were beating in my head for all those hours and days and nights, that's why.
It's like a subconscious education.
100%.
That's crazy.
Because, yo, I was saying to myself, when I tell you I love music, I really love music. I have a passion for it. But I was also upset with it as well because I'm saying, okay, I love it and all this stuff, but why don't I know how to play an instrument? Why can't I sing? Why can't I rap? Like, I was just confused with it, you know? And then here we are today.
Started to work out. So, yeah, you get on that track, or you start making music. It's funny when you say that too, because that's almost exactly the same story as how Gucci first started rapping. He had like some younger dude that he was trying to push, brings him to Zaytoven, and then he ends up getting sort of frustrated with this other guy. He starts rapping. Zaytoven's like, no, it's all you.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's
kind
crazy.
Of, great minds think alike.
Yeah,
you kind of are the Canadian Gucci man. I feel like anyway. Yeah, got a little record.
I keep hearing that, man. But yo, can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
Man? I look up to Gucci. When I got out of prison, I was listening to a lot of Gucci. And when I was listening to Gucci, when he dropped that song with Jeezy, yo, I took a lot of flack, man, from my friends and stuff like that. They were like, yo, this shit's whack.
They're like, you ain't so icy.
Yeah, you know? But, bro, I don't know. It's just about... I could just tell he was a real one, bro. Just even if the words weren't like blending how they should be, like how he is today, just the shit that he was saying was resonating with me.
That's crazy. Yeah. You know, him and Drake had a couple songs back in like 2009, and there was talk of doing a mixtape together, but then that never happened. And I feel like it was probably one of those things where Gucci just says whatever he wants to happen and just hopes that it'll happen.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at this point, okay, so that one song, though, was it like that song was the one song that you were like, this is what I want to push? Or did you sort of like just present a bunch of your stuff to the team?
Oh, you mean when I started rapping?
The music,
the first song that I made?
Yeah.
I didn't present that song to the
Okay,
team.
so you kept grinding.
Yeah, I kept grinding. But what happened was when I was grinding, the boy, because my friends, like we're all friends, you know, so like say the boy says, yo, we're doing dinner at my crib tonight. Tell the man to forward over. So everybody will be over there, and then like he'll probably be in the studio in his house somewhere doing something, and we'll be over here, or the guys will be here doing shit and playing music, and just run one of my songs that I did. Yo, Baka just did a new song. Listen to this, and he'll be in the next. And trust me, this guy does not miss a beat. Okay, when you think he's not paying attention, that's when he's really paying attention. Because we're thinking he's over there doing something totally different to what we're doing. And I remember the day, like they played the song and he came into the room and he's like, who's that? And I said, it was me. And that was it, bro.
Right.
That was it. He basically told me like, yo, like keep making music. Don't stop. Because at that time too, even though my friends were playing the music, there was a lot of my friends that didn't like the fact that I was doing this.
Because they're looking at you as competition.
No. I honestly feel that two things. I feel like they didn't want me to fail, right? And look stupid in front of the world because I am Baka, not nice. The street cred's already there. Why are you gonna go fuck it up? and look like a loser rapper, because that's what could happen.
Because if you really came out and sucked, then it's kind of like you got to be that for the rest of your life. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So the credit, all that credibility might go out the window now.
You'd rather be a good street dude than a good street dude who then kind of fucked it up with the rap thing, you know?
Right.
But it's like, yeah, God, you're lucky that you did both. Yeah, the both seem to be working out. That's awesome. That's crazy. Okay, but so then from your perspective, you just keep working, and then did you figure out that song would be the song? Was that your thought process? Where you're like, this is the one that I want to push?
No, not until I made the song that I wanted to push, which was Live Up to My Name.
Right.
But all the other songs, like, they were just like, it was like going to school for me. It was like, because, man, my flows in the beginning, man, were pretty crazy.
Right.
So it was just like learning, it was teaching me. Because one thing I would say, if anybody ever asked me about if I had advice for an artist, like, just make sure you like your own music. Make sure you love your music. And that's how I feel about my shit. When I make music and I like the song, I love the song. So if I love the song, I believe that song is a good song that I can put out to the world, that everybody will appreciate, because I feel in my heart that it's a good song because I know music, you know?
That's a big challenge as a rapper, is to be real enough with yourself to have an honest opinion about your stuff, because a lot of people, like young kids in particular, they make one song and they love themselves so much that they think that song is it, and they sort of lack the understanding to be able to say, okay, maybe this song's all right, but I need to work on this, I need to work on that. That's kind of the gift that you had, is because of the fact that you have this long life ahead of you where you weren't just being the self-absorbed musician, that you were able to maybe take a look at the game from a fairer perspective.
Real talk. And you know what? Honestly, man, one thing with OVO sound, one thing with Drake in particular, if it's not right, he's not going nowhere. Right. It's just like either you just shelf it or you start over again. Right. Period. And when it comes to my music, all my music, I make sure that he hears my stuff first before I do anything. I want the criticism. I can handle it. That's the difference between me and a lot of these guys. I guess you can't tell these guys that their song is shit, you know, and them not feel offended by it. I mean, you might not have to say it like that. Right, yeah. But, you know, I take criticism, and I want my boys to be real with me. It's not going to work if you're not. Don't be a fucking yes man to me.
I mean, if somebody who's as busy as he is and has as much on his plate and has so many other important things that he can put his time towards is even willing to give you a drop of criticism, you should be extremely thankful, because guess what I have to say when the average person shows me their fucking video? Nothing. Why? Because I really don't give a shit. I don't have anything to gain from helping you. But if he actually cares enough to even be critical, I mean, that's like a gift.
It's a gift, man. Yeah. It's a gift.
That's crazy. What do you think about, like, the thing that you sometimes hear pundits, people who talk online about music, say is that they try to say, oh, OVO, if you end up signing with OVO, you end up giving your best shit to Drake. Do you think that there's any truth to that?
Nah.
Do you think you're seeing it from a different perspective because you weren't like hired as a songwriter or a producer or something?
Nah, I just know him as an individual, you know? He's not gonna, especially if a man's like, okay, so let me put myself in the situation then. I make a hit song. And he knows it's a hit song for me. He's not gonna come and be like, yo, I need that song. He's not gonna do that. I 100% I know this. And I've never even heard of him doing anything like that. So my personal take on it is I don't know him to be like that. Right. You know, he wants his artists to thrive and to flourish and to be great. He wants that. Like everybody at OVO wants that.
And what's crazy though is that to a lot of people who may have a less mature perspective, they would say, well, why didn't he hop on your song when it was blowing up? But I think the reality is that, yeah, that would have made the song bigger, but he probably wouldn't have been doing you any favors in the long run, because getting under that massive microscope that quickly is sometimes. We've seen a lot of people whose careers couldn't handle the weight of the Drake feature.
Exactly. And so I'm glad you brought that up. I honestly, I want features from him, but early in the stages of my career, I didn't want it. I swear to you, I didn't want any features.
You don't want it till you're ready.
No, I didn't. I feel like, because bro, what am I gonna do? Go and start doing features with rappers all over the place and get blown out of the water? That's not gonna work. You know. Right. And plus I wanted my fans to love me, bro. Love me. You love me, then all that other pretty fancy stuff, we can get into that later. But in order for me to know that I can last in this business, you gotta love me. You gotta show me that you love me, because then that makes me know that I'm doing something right. So then, like the features and all that stuff, that can come later. Fall in love with Baka first. Get to know who Baka is.
Right, because it's like, you know that you'd rather be a great version of who you really are than trying to become. That's the problem with so many rappers who come in the game. They try to become this inflated version of something that they're realistically not even ready to be in the first place. But that's, you know, they want to be standing next to, you know, whoever the next person to do a feature with is or whatever. They want to be standing next to them so they can seem just as cool, and they lack the self-awareness to realize that they're not that cool yet.
Right. So listen, this is what my dad told me since I've been a kid. He said, don't hang your coat where you cannot reach it. Simple.
That's real.
Yeah.
A lot of people get into a position and then immediately start thinking about how they can get to the next position instead of getting good at playing their role.
Being greedy. It's patience. I learned a lot in prison. I think that's the sauce that I have that a lot of these guys don't. I have patience, man. I'll wait.
And it takes a lot of patience, honestly, to be able to do well in the environment of being around a person who's a massive superstar.
Massive.
You have to be patient because you sort of are moving at their speed, and you have to learn to be a soldier. You have to learn to be someone who
straight up
can take yourself and put it aside.
You have to, man. You have to. Like, I fully agree with what you just said. Like, you know, sometimes there's too many chiefs and not enough Indians, you know? So I know to play my position. Listen, at the end of the day, man, Drake didn't have to sign me to OVO. He didn't have to sign me. Drake didn't have to say, yo, come roll with me. He didn't have to do none of that stuff. He made that decision on his own. So my loyalty to him and this whole movement is different. A lot of people might not understand it, but it is what it is. So I'll know how to play my position. Because at the end of the day, I will have my time. Everything's on timing. So maybe today's not my day. It might be tomorrow. It might be next week. But be patient.
For sure. Now that, you know, you sort of are able to travel around more freely, apparently, and everything, how are you feeling about the music right now? What are you working towards? Is it like a project in mind? Are you still working on that next big single? Where are you at right now?
I have a few big singles right now. And so like I was telling you, like this is my introduction to America right now. Like, I was in Canada, I went to Europe and all that stuff. Now I want you guys to know who I am. And then we can talk about the project.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That's dope. I feel like a lot of people are really fucking looking forward to it.
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah. Just being out here doing all this media and stuff, is that kind of it must be kind of wild, though, just to feel like you are so in the game, but you haven't really gotten a chance to do it a lot of the normal rapper stuff, like just being able to be out and in front of the people in such a way.
Yeah, so, you know, not taking anything away from Canada or overseas, Europe or anything like that, but I'm telling you, I didn't feel like I was actually an artist until I came to America, because you got to do it here. You got to, if you do it here, you can do it anywhere.
Right.
That's my take on it. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like I got to work really hard right now, because this is my first time in America. Like, I mean, you guys have heard my music and stuff, but you haven't seen me.
Right.
You haven't gotten to know me yet. And this is my chance to show you guys who I am.